Hi, welcome back to Keep It Dirty, a podcast where my guests share their life living functionally and sustainably and their why behind our ever changing environment and their experiences navigating through life and their health. So, I am your podcast host, Leslie Dowling. I'm a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, a corporate speaker, and really just living life to the fullest as healthy and as sustainably as possible. And we are back having my lovely guest, my middle son, Nicholas Dowling, back on the show. The last time we had him on a couple of weeks ago, he was telling us about his experiences going through Ranger School. And now he is a full-fledged airborne, or how would you say? He went through Airborne School, and it was 3 weeks compared to 6 weeks where we couldn't even speak to you. They only give you a little bit of time on a phone, a landline to call us. So this was
Yes.
very different, Nick. I'm just really fascinated with, because we just came back from Georgia from your graduation a couple of days ago. Really, how does Airborne School prepare you to get into that headspace of, getting you prepared to like, all right, I'm going to jump. I'm going to have a successful and safe jump. I mean, it's like, hey, we're going to take you up. How many, thousands of feet up, and you're going to jump from a plane. I mean, that's not an everyday occurrence. So how did they prepare you to get you into that right frame of mind?
It's like a crawl, walk, run type of training. So they gradually will introduce new concepts
Okay.
and that eventually amount to bringing it all together that prepares you to exit the aircraft and land safely.
Mhm.
But a lot of it is repetitive training, day in and day out, so that you can make things muscle memory. So that when you exit the aircraft or when you land, it just feels natural.
Okay. Wow. And so what were your thoughts like initially? Were you really nervous or were you just like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, get through this. Yeah, that's better now. Now you're centered, Nick.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
And of course, Dad's calling, but okay, I'll just tell him that we are recording. So tell us about how did you get yourself psyched up for this?
Um, I mean, it's an opportunity that got presented to me, so I wanted to take it. Um, but the first 2 weeks is a lot of rudimentary stuff. A lot of it seems very elementary, very basic, because so many soldiers go through that school, so they
Mhm.
need to make things very simple. And in essence, it is a fairly simple task, just jumping from the aircraft and landing. But there's risk that you assume by doing that, so a big risk in doing it. So you need to know how to properly exit and land. Those are really the two biggest things that you work on throughout the course. But like during the first week is referred to as ground week. So you do everything on the ground. You practice exiting the aircraft, how to put on the harness, um, and how to land correctly.
Mhm.
And the second week is tower week. We'll progress to jumping out of these towers that are basically like a zip line
How high up
that
is it?
replicate. It's about 30 feet,
Okay.
and then you go on a zip line downward, and that's meant to replicate you like exiting the aircraft and getting to a proper body position for when your parachute deploys. And then you'll get used to, you can jump Hollywood style,
What's
which just means that you have just a parachute on your back, and then you can jump combat style, which is typically what you will do when you're at a unit actually doing training, which is where you jump with a rucksack at your legs dangling, which is just like a big backpack that you carry your equipment in, and then you carry uh, a weapon that's attached to a case by your side. So it's more weight that you're jumping with, and
Mhm.
it's a lot more uncomfortable. During the second week, they get you accustomed to rigging yourself up and jumping out of the tower with that. And in the third week, that's referred to as jump week, which is where you'll conduct your 5 jumps out of the aircraft over the course of a couple days. But they even do that in a progression as well. So you'll start with just a Hollywood jump, so no equipment on you during the daytime. And then you'll do another Hollywood day jump during the daytime. And then the next day you'll do one combat jump during the day, which means that you have all your equipment on, but still during the day. And then
Right.
you'll do a Hollywood jump at night to get accustomed to exiting the aircraft and landing at night. And on the final day, you'll do a night jump with combat equipment, which is typically replicates most on what you would actually see in real life. So you build up to that point. But jumping Hollywood is a lot more comfortable. It's a lot, it's what people like to do because you don't have all the equipment on you, but it's less realistic to real life. But it is quite thrilling waiting to go up, especially the first time in the aircraft and jumping out of it because you get blown so fast out of that aircraft and you get sucked away in the wind, and then eventually your parachute opens and you're just gliding through the air.
Now, what were you talking about where it looks really funny, but like you gotta, like when you're in midair, if I guess things get tangled up, right? Your parachute, you
Yeah.
start running
Tip-
to unravel it and like rotate in a 360-degree like turn or something? Or can you explain that? That was
yeah,
wild.
typically or a lot of times when you do exit an aircraft, your lines for your parachute might be tangled a bit. So they're not tangled, but they're twisted. So in order to untwist them, you can pull apart the risers, they're called, and then in order to have yourself spin so it spins out of the twist, you like kick your legs like this in the air, and then you twist around
Wow.
like that, and then it untwists itself. So typically that works to get the twists out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I found it really interesting. You said that at night, actually, it's better that you don't anticipate the ground because you could land better. Because I, I guess I was pretty blown away how many people like broke ankles, broke legs. Is that because your muscle memory, you tend to stiffen up if you see ground, like you're ready to like be like solid, on your feet kind of thing? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. The correct way, and they drill this into you in the school, is to keep your feet and knees together prior to landing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do land, is to maintain that body position. And it's typical though when you jump or you're expecting to hit the ground, you'll tense up and then you'll try and land on your feet. But that's how you break things, is because you're coming in to the ground way too fast. So if you try and do that, you'll likely get hurt. So instead, to do something called a PLF, which is a parachute landing fall,
Mm-hmm. What's that?
it's just the way that you land, the correct way to land when you're jumping with a parachute is to basically hit the ground with your legs and then roll onto your butt and then onto your side. And that rolling motion is able to like transfer the energy through your body in such a way where uh, you can like land on the ground and be okay.
Interesting. So how many people actually started and how many people actually graduated? And was it mostly like where people just, sprained, broke things?
Yeah, I think we started with just over 500 and we ended with like 360.
Okay.
And that's as a result of injuries, like other administrative problems that had people get put into the next class, or failing a certain event because there's certain graded events that you need to pass in order to move onward in the school. It's mainly centered on knowing how to land correctly and then knowing how to exit the aircraft properly.
And what was the most challenging part for you? Was it actually when you hit the ground, knowing how to just land
Um,
properly?
I don't know. I don't think anything was too challenging for me to
Okay.
understand. It takes a little bit at first to get your body used to landing correctly and getting the muscle memory down. The part that was the worst was sitting in you before you go up in the aircraft, you get your harness and everything fully inspected. In an airborne school, you're not allowed to touch any of your equipment because it needs to be inspected beforehand by like one of the experts,
Okay.
the master, the jump masters they're referred to as. And so you're in a harness for hours and hours on end. I think one day we were in it for 7 hours or so. So you can't drink. It's very uncomfortable because you can't go pee or anything like that unless you pee your pants. So
Wow.
that was the worst part about the school, truly.
Think so. I didn't realize it was that many hours. I thought maybe like 2 hours at the most, but that must be grueling having to be and just hoping and praying that you didn't mess anything up or touch something because you want everything to work and you want your parachute to go. And,
Yeah.
so wow. So after this, I guess, and I know it's late and you get up at what? You have to be out the door by what, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Um, but you know that you'll be heading off next month, right? To Hawaii.
Yes.
And are you looking forward to that?
Yes, absolutely. A long time coming.
Good, good. And I guess if I had to go far, why not Hawaii to go visit my son? Which will be fun, exciting, because it's bittersweet. The last time I was there in Honolulu, I was a little girl. I was with my family and we went to go see Pearl Harbor because my father was a gunner in the belly of a plane. He was in the Navy and he enlisted and he lied about his age, but he was older in his mid to late 40s when he had me. So he was in World War II, your grandfather, which unfortunately you never met. And I wish you would have because you have a very lovely disposition like he, just a good heart, always with a smile. And that's so you. And what was remember I told you he got two Purple Hearts and there was something else that not many people get, like with being in the plane. Remember, you were.
Man, I gotta look it up
I'd have
again.
to look it
It's
up.
the it's one of the stars.
It's
That's a
one of the
medal.
stars that they don't give to every. Yeah. So, and he never talked about that. And then I wish he were still alive that I could have asked him these questions, but he didn't. He didn't like talking about war. Nor not many people want to. So, but I'm so proud of you. I know he's looking down. He's so proud of you. We're proud of you. And I know you have to hit the hay first soon. So, is there anything else you wanted to share with anybody? Say if anyone is looking into this, or should they pursue like Ranger School first? Are you glad you did Ranger School, got through that first before you did Airborne, or doesn't really matter which way you navigate through it?
Um, I mean, yeah, it was good to do that first. If you're airborne qualified and you go to Ranger School, then they do jumps in Ranger School, but there's potential for more potential, I think, for you to get injured. So
Yeah.
that's what was recommended to me was go to Ranger School first.
Oh, that's interesting. And then when you
Yes.
go to Hawaii, what is it, Jungle School?
They do have that out there, yes.
That's
So I might
interesting.
go to that at some point.
Well, then we'll have to have you on again for another
Yes.
episode, but I'd love to have you back on once you acclimated into, going to Hawaii and also maybe sitting outside on our podcast so we could see the beautiful backdrop of Hawaii in Honolulu. And it's, what is it called? Schofield? Joe Air
Schofield Barracks.
Schofield Barracks. And that's been around since World War II, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, the other thing is just on another note, somebody told me that after 100 years, they're closing Valley Forge Academy. Did you hear about that?
No, I need to look into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your older brother, who's not in serving our country or anything, he went to military summer school, summer program when he was 9. But yeah, they're
He's little.
close to that. That's like crazy. I know. Who would have ever thought? He's the one that Googled that when he was 8, and he's like, "Mom, I'm going to Valley Forge Military Academy summer school." I'm like, "Summer camp." I said, "What are you, crazy?" He goes, "No, I'm going to do it." He did it. Yeah, it's really sad that they're closing. So, anyway, I just want to thank you tonight for being on my show. We're also going to be having you on Generation Foundation, which is our first podcast we started during pandemic, and hopefully we could start doing more because we get a lot of people listening in on that, and it's pretty cool with the background of Gen Z versus Gen X and their viewpoints on what's going on in the world and our experiences. So, again,
Mm-hmm.
have a great evening, hon. You get your sleep. Love you. And thank you for everybody, all our viewers and listeners, just sticking with Keep It Dirty podcast. Check out also Generation Foundation podcast where Nick and I will be talking. And just remember to try to keep it dirty and ground with Mother Earth. Take care, everybody. Bye.